if you have articulated the issues that we've written in the letter. So over to you, Honorable Vincent.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mona. Colleagues, Honorables here present, I thank you for inviting me and my team for this discussion this morning. The letter is very clear on the issues that I need to address. The first issue is on the Ministry's disbursements of COVID-19 related funding. But before I dive into this one, we delve into the Honorable Chair, I just want to say a few words about the state of the world economy, the state of the economy, which we're going to be prompted, triggered us to start disbursing funds in the specific way that I'll be outlining in a moment. I think it's fair to say that the world economy, but also the world in general, is facing an existential crisis, which has also given us a challenge in the sense that we are trying to balance the objective of saving lives with the objective of saving livelihoods. The first one being a simple health issue, and then the other being an economic issue, saving livelihoods. And that balance is never easy. We impose a lockdown as a preventative measure, but then that does slow down the economy, and you have to do something to open up things so that people can get back and start earning their incomes again. So our response as a government is really to deal with saving lives as well as then dealing with livelihoods. And on the economic front, we are dealing with livelihoods to make sure that our people can carry on with their lives. So if you look at this crisis, it is going to slow down global economic growth from a positive 3%, which was expected for 2020, to a negative 3%. And we expect Zimbabwe's growth to also to be impacted likewise, which is a negative rated growth for the year 2020. And the channels of transmission of the crisis is really through several. One is just a shrinking of domestic demand in all economies around the world because of the lockdown, because of reduced economic activity. Is those that are producing commodities like Zimbabwe. Again, you expect the commodities export market to be impacted, and that will affect export somewhat, and then affect also in economic growth. The other channel of transmission is through the tourism sector. I think it's fair to say that that sector has really been severely impacted, and we've got figures as to how we think it is being impacted. I won't go into detail on that for now. The other area is on remittances, because we receive almost $1 billion in remittances every year. So now Zimbabweans out there having been impacted in terms of the working activities, that will impact the flow of remittances, and we expect a drop in remittances. There are areas where we should benefit, of course, from COVID-19, such as the oil sector, for example, the tobacco sector. What we've seen in the oil sector is obviously a fall in global prices, and that has really stopped the hike in petrol prices and diesel prices that we've seen much earlier because of the fall in the global oil price. On the tobacco front, what has happened is that the Zimbabwe stayed open in terms of harvesting. We've also changed the tobacco system into a decentralized system as opposed to a centralized system, but also just the global supply of tobacco in our type of tobacco that we produce is lower, and that has resulted in higher prices for tobacco this year. We're averaging just above $2 per kg compared to about $1.70, 80 last year, and the deliveries are not high. So we then decided to intervene as a government to deal with the economic impact of this COVID-19. So you find that our stimulus package, the way we release budget, tries to follow those channels of transmission of the economic crisis to unblock those blockages and deal with them one by one. So that's how we designed our budget releases and designed our stimulus package, because we thought that we understood how they affected the economy. Let me now delve into then the specific question about how the budget is being dispersed, the budget that you have yourselves approved. So far, as of the 31st of May, Treasury has made budget releases of the order of 1.3 billion Zimbabwe dollars, and of which the actual cash disbursed is about 1.1 billion. But 1.3 billion has been released to support the economy directly from the budget. So for the Ministry of Health, we released 640.2 million. Ministry of Higher Education is 44 million. And then Ministry of Industry and Commerce is 110 million. And then Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement is 18.14 million. Also the President and Cabinet, 22.96 million. Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare is 145.5 million. And then Public Service Commission, 1 million. Judicial Service Commission, 5 million. Local Government and Public Works, 94.3 million. Information Publicity and Broadcasting Services, 7.5 million. Foreign Affairs and International Trade, 12.5 million. Defense is 75 million. Special Services, 40 million. Prisons and Correctional Services, 30 million. And then ZRP is Public Police, is 37 million. Youth, Arts, Sports and Recreation, 16.6 million. And that total is about 1.299 billion. It's about 1.3 billion. Those are the budget releases from January to 31st of May 2020. Support was primarily directed towards the procurement of PPEs, because that's what you see. Health has received the bulk of those releases, as is expected. And also, procurement of PPEs, screening equipment, testing equipment, and to capacitate isolation centers. Our idea was to strengthen health intervention efforts and enforcement of the lockdown restrictions. Also needed support from our security institutions. In addition, resources went towards provision of water through drilling of boreholes and provision of water treatment chemicals to local authorities. Financial resources were also extended to institutions of higher learning for the production of PPEs and sanitizers as well. Universities have been very busy, and we extended resources towards them for this purpose. Disbursements were also made towards social protection, targeting at least 1 million vulnerable households affected by the lockdown. That is the target. We're not quite there yet. We're pushing toward that target as we identify more and more vulnerable people. We're also targeting the homeless. We have been placed in various shelters around the country and to the quarantine centers, among others. Basically, the above resources are within the Parliament approved 2020 national budget, with a few within the vote reallocations, including the utilization of unallocated reserves, which are under the Ministry of Finance. So try very much to stay within the confines of the budget, but may have, I think, we speeded up disbursements towards the Ministry of Health for the areas that I've outlined. Let me then turn to the issue of domestic borrowing. In view of increased expenditure demands brought by the COVID-19 pandemic and the attendant mitigation measures, Treasury is on the market to raise $1 billion for emergency funding of the COVID pandemic. Obviously, we're targeting banks, pension funds, insurance companies, and so forth. So we will raise some additional resources through our borrowing program. To date, 500 million has been mobilized through Treasury bills issued under the auction system and also a private placement. Government is targeting to mobilize the outstanding 500 million from the insurance and pension funds. Let me now turn, Mr. Chairman, to domestic donations and pledges, because the assistance to it is not just through the budget, donations domestically, and then we'll move to donations from international partners. Domestic cash donations received by Treasury stand at about $85,000 on one part in terms of foreign currency, and then 14.8 million Zimbabwe dollars through bank deposits, and about $1,200 through mobile transfer as of 31 May 2020. What I do have, and I'm going to leave this document behind for your records, I have a list of the donations, cash donations. I've got a full list. And these cash donations, Honorable Mona, are being collected through our National Disaster Fund. They are all in there. But I must also hasten to say, in that fund, there is also additional resources which were raised during the Cyclone Idai period. So it's these resources plus the Cyclone Idai period. So when we go into that fund, that's what we find as resources that are available for us to use. Then coming to the development partners. So far, development partners from our side have donated $184.35 million US dollars. UK is at 45.7 US dollars. The Global Fund is 25 million US dollars. The US government initially was about 0.47, but they've since increased that donation. Now we're looking at about 8 million that has been donated by the government. The Global Financial Facility of the World Bank, 7 million. The EU, 60.6 million. Gavi, 1.1. The African Development Bank at 13.6 million. The ZIM Fund at 1.1 million. The UN organization, these various wings, is at 17.8 million. Badea, which is the Arab bank based in Sudan, in Khartoum, is about 10 million. Africa 50 is a small amount of 100,000. And then the government of China is 100,000. But China need to qualify. This is just the cash component. They've done a lot more in kind through the Jack Ma Foundation. They've really been fantastic, and other routes that they've used for donations. I must say that even we, as the Minister of Finance, directly received a donation for face masks from one of our sister institutions in Beijing. They've been very consistent. In addition to the above support, the Government People's Republic of China and the Jack Ma Foundation, among others, have also availed equipment and consumables which are still quantifying in monetary terms. We may not be successful in converting it to all monetary terms, but we'll try our best to do that. Yeah. Let me then turn to okay, that was item 2, Chair, where you asked about internal and external funds received and then committed towards COVID-19. So we continue to receive more funds. Recently, we got a commitment from the government of Japan, and then also a commitment from Sweden as well. So we continue to receive more donations, and we expect more. And then we now turn to the third issue, Mona, on the revision of budget projections. Honourable members, are reminded that Treasury only implements budgets approved by Parliament, as enshrined in the Public Finance Management Act. If there's need to change the budget midway, halfway through the year, I will have first to come here to Parliament to seek approval before implementation. So we're working on that to see whether there will be any need to come before you. We'll let you know in the next week or so. It is also evident that the COVID-19 pandemic and the attendant mitigatory measures have seriously affected the economy with severe implications of the 2020 approved budget and the broader macroeconomic framework. In this regard, Treasury is still consulting and collecting data to come up with the reasonable projections relating to the revised GDP growth figures, expected revenue collections, and the expenditures. Now, there are indications that the economy will contract, as I said, resulting in below budget revenue collections, at least in terms of the current quarter. But also there will be higher expenditures because of expenditures on stimulus. Once we're in concrete position, I'll come before this august House with a supplementary budget seeking approval before implementation. Again, at your pleasure, Honourable Mona and committee members, it could be that I might have to maybe come before this committee to discuss prior to approaching the whole House on the budget revisions that need to be made. You may have noticed that the pandemic has occurred at the beginning of the year, therefore ministries and departments are still spending within their allocated votes. In some instances, Treasury has had to make permissible reallocations within their votes. And now turning to the national budget outturn and outlook vis-a-vis the pandemic, which is now item 4. The total revenue collections from January to April 2020 amounted to 18 billion against expenditures of 17.9 billion. So if you look at total revenue, tax revenue rather than non-tax revenue, with 17.6 billion worth of tax revenues. Non-tax revenue was about 398 million. So total is 17.999, almost 18 billion. Looking at total expenditure of 17.9 billion, you look at the compensation for employees, it's about 5.5 billion. And then what we spent on goods and services, about 2.4 billion. The interest on that is 494 million. And then the subsidy costs were about 480 million. Grants, basically about 1.999 billion. Then social benefits, 942 million. Then other expenses, about 473 million. And then what we call classified as non-financial assets, with about 5.6 billion, and then a total of 17.9 billion. So in this period of January to April, we achieved a target surplus of 77.6 million. I think the budget balanced. While it's a deficit of 3.6 billion was expected, in the 4 months to April, we actually achieved almost a balanced budget with a small surplus of 77.6 million in that period, January to April 2020. Maybe further detail on revenue performance. The total revenue collections of the first 4 months, surpassed the target of 17 billion by only 5%. Owing to higher than expected performance in most revenue heads. Revenue collection targets were missed during the months of February and April. If you look at VAT, that remains the largest contributor, Mr. Chair, to tax revenue, about 23% of tax revenue, ahead of individual tax, excise duties, and corporate tax at 17.5%, 14.1%, and 12% respectively. So VAT is the leader there. In terms of expenditure, the cumulative expenditure for the 4 months amounted to 17.9 billion, as I have explained, against a target of 20.7 billion. Expenditures were contained within target. Some expenditures were redirected from capital expenditure to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic as directed by government. The response to the pandemic resulted in increased monthly expenditure from 3.7 billion in February to 7 billion, this is February, and 5.1 billion in March and April, respectively. I've got some information, more information on that. The increase in expenditure was largely towards improvement of health service delivery. Capital expenditure, which took up 31.3% of total expenditure, was directed towards the construction and rehabilitation of medical facilities as the country was improving preparedness in responding to the pandemic. In addition, 4,000 nurses and 200 medical staff were recruited in March. Hence, employment costs increased from 1.2 billion in February to an average of 1.7 billion per month in March and April. While there was an increase in expenditure for some heads, overall spending was largely contained within the target as ministries, departments, and agencies redirected spending within the approved budget and in line with the government directive. Grants, which constituted about 11%, comprised employment costs and operational expenses for extra regulatory units. Let me turn to the budget balance. Resultantly, government recorded a budget surplus amounting to 77 million as of April, as I've already said. However, the month of April closed with an outstanding payments to the tune to set up the Victoria Falls Financial Exchange Offshore Financial Services Center as a subsidiary of the main board of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. The VFAX, I'll use VFAX for short, Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, will thus be operated from the Central Business District of Victoria Falls physically as a subsidiary of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So the objectives are to attract foreign direct investment into the country, to assist companies to raise capital for retooling, to manage currency risk, to manage perceived country risk, and to enhance mobility of capital by facilitating low tax and the low regulatory related investments into the economy. The targeted sectors for VFAX is, I would say, mainly the mining sector, because that's a sector that requires quite a lot of US dollars in terms of FDI, foreign direct investment. So we expect this sector to be the one that really will take the lead in companies being listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. We're trying to build a $12 billion industry in the mining sector by year 2023, and we believe that by listing on the exchange, this capital will feel safer, it will feel facilitated in terms of ins and outs, easy movement in and out of the country, and the risk will be better understood. This has been our experience in starting these other exchanges. So we're currently finalizing the rules for the exchange, and these will be gazetted soon. The exchange will obviously, in terms of governance, be according to best practice. As I said, it is a subsidiary of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, but within it, we follow best practice. We have a steering board that will steer its activities and make sure that everything is done properly. We want to be very strict about who lists on the exchange. You list on the exchange only if fresh, new foreign capital is brought into Zimbabwe. Otherwise, you cannot list, because our whole point is to attract foreign capital. So Chair, that really completes my response to the specific 5 areas that were raised in the letter. Now I'm ready to answer any questions, and my team is ready to assist in dealing with any queries, questions, and input. I think.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Prof, for that detailed presentation. And I'll kickstart the process of seeking clarity and posing questions. Honorable Minister, as representatives of the people, there are some questions that we are expected to respond to virtually to our constituencies in view of the misleading media reports. What is the position regarding the deal between the government and Landela Investments Private Limited, wherein the media is alleging that the company is raking in millions of dollars in taxpayers' funds for buses bought on credits in China and now being sold to Zuko at inflated price? Related to that question, Honorable Minister, is also for you to clarify on allegations that Zimbabwe bought COVID-19 equipment at hugely inflated prices from a private supplier in Dubai. And pose another question as well, Honorable Minister. One of the observations, this is during the Commission of Inquiry report on the conversion of insurance and pension values from Zimbabwe dollars to the United States dollars, was that of regulatory failure on the part of IBAN, which manifested itself through failure to conduct on-site supervision and to investigate its licenses, allowing arbitrary insurance product termination by insurance companies, poor investment management practices, poor record keeping, failure to protect policyholders and patients when deregistering
and pensions industry. There are observations in the report that show that government, through its own borrowing at below market rate, also contributed to the low returns and consequently the low benefits that then get paid to the insuring public. What has government done in that process to try and also address its side so that members of the public who believe in insurance and pensions can then be paid what is reasonably fair for them? The other observation in that report is that government entities are the main culprits in terms of remitting contributions by employees. For example, local authorities, parastatals are the main culprits. They don't contribute, they deduct money from members of the public, but they don't then remit to pension funds for onward investment. What is government doing so that either maybe advancing loans to these institutions so that they clear their arrears or whatever, but what is government doing? Because if these institutions are failing to remit contributions, they are also involving into the cannibalization of the benefits that are supposed to accrue to members of the insurance public. Lastly,